Okay, and it looks like we're live. So, hey everybody. It's Joe. I hope you didn't have to see me bent over starting the stream for too long. It's like the stream delay. Might have exposed you to that. I apologize. So what are we doing tonight? Well, one, we're taking a step back from real life for a minute. It's been a bit much, so I'm not going to talk about any of the real life stuff that's going on tonight. We're just going to hang out, play some video games, and we're going to play Snatcher, which is a science fiction video game from Hideo Kojima. And the reason that we're doing it is because I just got a PVM, which I don't know if that'll spin. I'm not going to spin it, but it's right here. I've got a PVM, and I've got my flat panel to the right, so I can capture. And I've got this guy, which is compatible with Snatcher. And so we're going to use that for the gun sequences. And so we're just going to hang out for about an hour, play some games, and
Snatch it, baby.
Hey, what's going on, Mike?
I'm here to see the CRT and all the zapping that it entails.
All right, well, we're going to adjust the gun first before we start, so...
Let me have a look and see what you're doing.
That should be good.
Aim for the center and pull the trigger.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. So, this game, if you've never played it, this might not be the best way to experience it. Because I'm going to be talking to Mike and whatnot, so...
It's a text-based game. You can read along.
You can read a lot of it, but like this whole opening scene that you're about to see has a lot of spoken dialogue and no subtitles, so... The story is dedicated to all those cyberpunks who fight against injustice and corruption every day of their lives.
June 6th, 1996.
So,
a mysterious explosion destroys the Chernobyl.
the story dump we're getting right now is basically that
Lucifer Alpha.
Once upon a time, in the far-flung future of 1996, there was a horrific plague that wiped out, like, half of the world's population, basically.
Yeah, did this stuff ever come up really during the game, or is it just kind of...
It comes up towards the end. It plays a factor into the ending.
Right, there's a big exposition dump at the end of this game, because it was made by Hideo Kojima.
Right. I don't know that at the end, I don't think it counts as an exposition dump if it happens at the end, but yeah, this was the first game I ever played that had like a 30-minute animated cutscene as an ending, which obviously at the time we did not realize was going to become Kojima's, you know,
Bread and butter.
yeah, but in fact, just a half hour seems like restraint at this point.
But when you're playing it, it feels pretty long, and I gotta say, I was impressed that even going this far back, he had that in him.
Yeah. Yeah.
They found mysterious robots in the Arctic or something.
Yeah, Siberia, I think it is. That's where they first are spotted. The Snatchers. So this is basically, this story cribs really hard from a bunch of different stories. A lot
like
of people,
half Blade Runner and a little bit of, I don't know, the
Blade
Thing.
Runner, the Terminator, Invasion of the Body Snatchers. So the deal is that these are not, like, the commentary in Blade Runner is more about what makes you human, and do these synthetic humans deserve dignity and rights and something besides just being killed for setting foot on Earth. This story is not that subtle. The Terminator robot monsters kill people and take their skin. So basically the whole thing about, they're called Snatchers because they snatch humans and then impersonate them. And so,
Like body snatchers.
right, like the body snatchers. And then there's a bit of I haven't watched Bubblegum Crisis, but apparently there is a bit of bubblegum. I mean, look, that skyline is Blade Runner. That's anime Blade Runner right there, right? Like the Tyrell Pyramid and the flames shooting up. That's the opening shot of Blade Runner. But yeah, it's sort of a pastiche of Invasion of the Body Snatchers and Blade Runner and the Terminator and Bubblegum Crisis and all this kind of stuff. I think it takes most from Blade Runner though. It's a detective story. You play as a detective. You're a junker, which stands for. It says something different in the Japanese version as it does in the American version. I'm trying to remember which is which, but it's like Japanese undercover neurokinetic elimination ranger.
Yeah.
Which just tells me that someone really wanted those letters to spell out junker. So that's what's going on here. And this version is the only English version that's ever existed. It's never been re-released, which is completely insane.
No shame.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. I was going to say they just re-released it in Japanese on the TG16 Mini.
Right.
But yeah, the English version is nowhere to be found.
But the TG16 version didn't get an English translation. Oh, and also, as you can see, Jeremy Blaustein's name on screen there. Jeremy Blaustein, who would go on to do the localization of Metal Gear Solid, wrote this localization and directed the voice cast. And Retronauts did a really great interview with him probably a decade ago at least now, maybe more, probably more than that actually, where they talked to him about the process. And part of the reason that, for its era, this game has a really good voice recording, and it's because they had so little money to do it. They got a bunch of Chicago theater actors because Konami's American office was in Chicago at the time. And they literally had them do their lines live with each other, which is not typically how voice acting is recorded. Usually you do your lines and then like everybody does their lines separately.
It gets like a day.
Right. But in this, they brought the whole ensemble into the studio, and they, like, for this scene, like, Jeff Lupitin, and I don't remember the actress who plays his wife or his estranged wife, like, they just sat in there with the microphone between them and did the scene together, which is why the voice work is so above what you expect from anything else of this era.
What year was this game released?
93? I want to say.
You concur, Eric?
Yeah, sure.
I have the cases right next to me.
What's up, guys?
Hey.
Let's see here. So this is, I don't have the manual, but I have the original case.
I just want to tell everybody that I'm taking right now.
1994. I'm sorry, 94.
94.
This is 2 years
but
before Resident Evil, which did not have a good.
Game, so it's
the high water mark for early 90s voice acting.
Right.
Yes.
Well, right, that's my point, though, right? Is that, this is 2 years
I think
before
like
that.
what the first game, or the earliest game I played that had decent voice acting was. I don't know. Like something that I would call good.
not until Metal Gear Solid was for me the first thing that I ever played really.
I would say like in 1998 I played StarCraft that had some good voice acting.
I played this, and actually also there's another Sega CD game called Rise of the Dragon, which stars Cam Clark as another cyberpunk detective in a trench coat. And that's got pretty decent voice acting.
Joe Montana Sports Talk Football.
There you go.
Good voice acting in that one. Classic for sure.
Also, the Adventures of Batman and Robin game for the Sega CD features the cast of the show, including like Ron Perlman and Mark Hamill and Kevin Conroy and
Dark Savior Madara wants to know if your Justifier ever acts up. Says one of mine, for whatever reason, just starts shifting up after a while, and I constantly have to recenter it.
So I have to turn the brightness way up on this TV to get it to register, especially with Lethal Enforcers, which I decided was not the game to stream tonight for obvious reasons, I think. But that game is so muddy that I have to crank the brightness up to the point where like the picture is actually not very good looking anymore to be able to play it. This game has been fine so far. She's a beautiful Oriental woman. I don't think you're supposed to refer to people as Oriental anymore, pretty sure.
Certainly not today, no.
Yeah.
Alright, I'm all clothed again, so...
There's some pretty
I'm not
heavy-duty
interested
stuff they've got
anymore.
here. This place may be more dangerous than I thought. So one thing...
I need some socks.
Looks like a security camera. One thing that some people don't like about this game, which I guess I played this game when it was new. Like, I had a Sega CD in 1994, and I got this game when it was new, so... It doesn't really bother me as much, but... Sometimes you have to, like, look at or interact with the same object multiple times for another option to show up, which is kind of annoying, but I think that beats, like... Like, I like the first several Phoenix Wright games, but there are moments in those games where you're pixel hunting for evidence, where I'm just like, I just have to start tapping on every part of the screen to figure out what I didn't see. Like...
I mean, I played this game much, like maybe 3 or 4 years ago, and I found it was generally pretty playable. In fact, my biggest complaints about it were actually related to the shooting sections, so presumably with the Justifier in hand, those will be a little smoother for you. But yeah, like, aside from a few times where you have to kind of go back and forth and, visit the same screen 4 times before the story event happens, I thought it was not too bad.
Right. I mean, compared with other adventure games of the era, it's fairly,
It's not too rough.
yeah.
Yeah. So, some of the stuff, yeah, you have to investigate. Like...
I apologize for all the rustling.
That's fine, man. You gotta get those clothes on. Or more, or further off, I don't know.
More off, yeah. I mean, I can go the opposite direction if you want.
I'm Gillian Seed. I've been assigned to general calls affected today.
While you're doing this,
Oh,
Joe, I'm
you're Mr.
re-downloading
C.
the MRA files for the
forgive me.
CPS-1 core to see if
My name is Mika
sticking
Slayton.
those
I'm the
on
administrative
fresh
assistant
fixes
and
my
operator
diagonal
here at
problem.
Joker headquarters.
Should.
May I please
Sounds
meet
like a
you?
user error problem to me, since I didn't have it, so... So one thing about this game that
what
has...
was the diagonal problem?
I just had a couple of CPS-1 arcade games where diagonals were not registering, so you could only move down, left, right, which is not ideal, especially for like a shooter like UN Squadron or Carrier Air.
Yes. Okay, I remember that was when you were streaming last week,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, Final Fight, honestly, I don't feel suffers that heavily from it, but
Yeah.
some of those shooters, and the other ones I was running were fine, so it wasn't a question, it wasn't a problem with the joystick or anything. But
I'm here to combat the bioroid Snatcher menace.
I really hate it when I get bioroids. Hard to sit down.
Yeah.
So do you just do the gun parts with the gun,
You
or
just do
can
the
you
gun
use
parts
that?
with the gun.
can you shoot the
I
conversation?
can't. No, I
Yeah,
can't.
that's what I wondered, yeah.
No, I can't shoot the conversation options. I don't think.
That would make this game even better.
Yeah, because you
I don't
press
know that
the
much
so
about the enforcer,
so
if it has
this-
any other buttons on
it
it or
does. There's a
anything.
start button on the side here, and that is actually what you. So I tested this. I opened one of my old save files and just went to the shooting range to make sure that everything was working. And you actually use the start button on the gun to draw your gun instead of hitting. Like, it's usually the A button when you're playing with the controller. But now you pick up the gun and hit the start button, and that has Gillian draw the gun and put the crosshairs on the screen, and then you shoot. So, but you can't do anything else with the gun. It's not like the Gun Con 2 like had a D-pad on the back, on the where the hammer would normally be, but this does not. So one thing that has not aged super well about this game is that Gillian is a huge
Gillian's
pervert
fine, you can call me
and
Gillian,
basically
Mika.
hits on anything
Okay,
that
Gillian.
talks to him,
I'll open the main door and show you around
including.
headquarters.
So they aged her up for the American version, which is good, but his
course they
dead co-worker's daughter, who I think is 14 in the Japanese version, like, there's a scene where you walk in on her in the shower, but they aged her up to, I think, 17 or 18 in this version, which is, like, still gross, but, like, less gross than 14.
Yeah.
So...
Mm-hmm.
But he
Chief
flirts with
Cunningham,
Mika, he
Gillian
flirts
Seed is
with
here.
his
I brought him
dead
in as you
coworker's daughter,
requested.
he flirts with the
Thanks
dancer
for
in the
coming,
bar,
Seed.
he flirts
I'm
with his
Benson
wife,
Cunningham, the chief of
his
Junker
estranged wife.
Operations.
Gillian Seed. I've been transferred here from the
It's-
17th
that's a
Special
little
Forces
rough.
Division.
I've heard
but
all about
a lot
your
of it is done
special
for
training
laughs
in
at
the
least. Like,
military,
it's
Seed.
not, you're not supposed to
I
be
hope
like,
you'll put it to good use on
you
your new
know,
assignment
yeah,
here.
Gillian's this like
By the
smooth
way, I
operator, and
understand
like,
you're
oh man,
suffering
it's
from
really cool that he's
amnesia.
hitting on the
Any
17-year-old. Like, he's
sign
kind
yet
of a
that your
dork,
memory
which
is
is at
coming
least like a
back?
little bit of saving grace.
I'm
It's like,
afraid not. I still
he's
can't
a smooth
remember
operator
thing
when he's
from before the Army
investigating,
picked me
but
up
then
3 years
whenever
ago.
he tries to like talk
You're
to a
married,
woman,
aren't
he
you?
turns into a doofus.
Yes,
so
but
I guess
we're
there's
separated
that's,
now.
you know,
She
a
has
bit of a
amnesia as
saving
well,
grace,
and
but it's-
without any memories between the two of us, I'm afraid
it's,
there was
that
very
part of
little
it
to
has
base a
not
good
aged super
relationship on.
gracefully.
I can see your point
Yeah,
there.
kind of too bad because there's a lot of cool stuff about this game, but that's rough to get back to.
Yeah, it's still. I mean, also you can bypass some of that stuff by just not choosing those dialogue options. But yeah, it's still
Folder has the dang core, Joe. So many
the
folders.
core.
in
The
folder.
underscore cores folder has the core, Mike. Looks like a pretty comfortable sofa.
Maybe I can't see that one because I haven't unzipped the file.
Maybe not.
Take that file all the way off, Mike.
I will. This is kind of the theme for tonight, apparently.
Don't touch that picture. It's very special to me. This ultra tacky painting of flowers. It's the latest
Oh,
in
it's one of
robot
those things.
sofas.
The vase where it's two people's faces.
Yep, sure it is. That comes into play later, actually. That vase, that painting of the vase.
There's no underscore cores folder in the GitHub repository, Joe.
Oh, I thought you were talking about you'd already downloaded the, or you were talking about where it was on your Mister. That's where it goes. I don't get his files from the GitHub repository because he posts them on Patreon, so I don't know off the top of my head.
I'll be back in a second here.
Okay.
Okay.
The purpose of the Junker Force is to eliminate bioroid snatchers.
I hate it when my bioroids get snatched.
Yeah, a Junker, even in the course of carrying out his first objective, must not harm innocent civilians. The Junker is required to assist and support civilian bounty hunters. We've got to put a stop to them. Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot that Gibson and Gillian are referred to as runners, so the Blade Runner influence is very heavy here. We know that they kill, copy the appearance of their victims, and take their place in society.
That should be enough to make your duties as a junker quite clear. This is your junker ID card. It will
Ooh, my
identify
junker
you
ID
as a
card.
junker. Carrying it allows you to exercise your special authority.
I see. Sort of like a police officer's badge, huh?
How long does it take to get to an
Here's
actual
some
shooting
money.
sequence?
It's not much, but you'll
Um,
need it to carry out your
Not
investigation.
that long. As soon as Jean
Credit cards aren't accepted
Jean calls
some
in
regions of the
because he's
city.
cornered a Snatcher and you have to
You'll
run
need
to
this
assist
sooner or
him.
later.
And there's
Sounds
a
like it's a rough place.
John
out
doesn't
there.
do so hot in that exchange. as I
Jean
recall.
does not do so hot. in that. That was the thing that blew my mind as a 12-year-old, seeing that scene for the first time. Yeah, there's a. You can go to the shooting range, and I'll do that before I leave. So, in fact, I might be able to do that now. I don't know if it'll let me yet. Oh well, shooting range. This is the shooting range. Oh you have to talk to Harry to get your blaster. Oh no, she will give you. Yeah, she'll give you her sidearm. Okay, here we go. Shoot only snatchers.
How do you know if it's a snatcher?
They look like robots.
But I thought the whole point was that they didn't look like robots.
I mean, you know, because you're a runner.
That's right.
A runner, he's a junker.
No, they call him. That was right when you stepped away. Gillian and Jean-Jacques are runners. That's their job
Oh, they
title
runners
as
who
a
work for
junker.
Junker?
Yeah, Junker is the organization, I think.
Yes.
You better hope any civilians that wander into your theater of battle are going to look exactly like that one guy.
Yeah, right.
The only person you're trained to not shoot, Joe.
That's right. I only hit one civilian, Mika. Come on, give me a break. So there you go. That's the shooting. And when I had this game as a kid, I didn't have a Justifier, which is a terrible name for a light gun shaped like a revolver, by the way. I didn't have one, so I never played this game with the light gun before. This is my first time actually playing through this game with the gun. So
There's a couple spots where it drops you into the shooting sequence really suddenly, aren't there?
there's a couple, yeah. So I mean, I'm gonna try to keep it. I mean, I remember where most of them are, but I'll try to keep it right here with me, so I can draw as quickly as I need to, Mike. Don't worry about it.
What you been doing lately, Eric?
Mostly playing this Apex.
Oh yeah.
Play a lot of that. And play a lot of Divinity 2 with the boys. You know how it do.
Yeah, you got the buckets on your heads and stuff.
No more buckets on our heads. We have evolved beyond that.
Oh,
Thank
man, you have now cauldrons?
Yeah, that game is it's really something. I don't know if I would be enjoying it more or less if I was playing it by myself, but I'm having a real good time.
With the fellas?
Yeah,
That's good.
it's good. It's a very different experience playing one of those games multiplayer, but we have sort of endured.
Yeah, see, Mike, this is the detectives room.
We haven't
The office
we
for
have
our
not
runners.
murdered Anthony yet, which is
I'm shocked, honestly. Having listened
I mean,
to
the
you guys
odds-
play
odds
that
were
with him
high.
a couple times. Yeah.
yeah.
What was I supposed to see, Joe?
She says that this is the room where the runners, that's the detectives in the
I
Junker
see.
organization, are called.
Also, Divinity 2 is just kind of an amazing video game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Curious to see what those people do with the... They're the ones
Baldur's Gate.
Baldur's Gate, right?
Yeah. I'm also very curious about that.
When's that supposed to come out?
I would probably guess not for a couple of years, I would say.
Oh, you think they're pretty far still?
Yeah. Shit.
We've been on a big N64 kick in my house lately.
Oh, really?
Yeah, my son decided that he really wanted to play Mario 64, and so we did. We played. I mean, I did the 70-star ending
Quitter.
because getting all 120 stars in that game is not something I want to do in 2020.
I mean, there's probably a good 20 or so more past what you've done. That's not too bad, but there's definitely some stuff at the end of that game.
Well, all the ones where you have to
TikTok.
collect.
Backlog.
Well, the ones where you have to collect 100 coins are fairly
Yeah.
tedious.
Is it TikTok clock? Is that one
Yeah.
level that sucks kind of?
I actually did almost all of TikTok Clock. I don't know. That's a tough level, but for some reason I enjoy that one because it's just pure platforming. But
Yeah.
that game is weird to go back to because it's
Yeah.
like kind of good, but also really rough and kind of really basic at times.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
and the
good,
problem is
Harry's
like
back.
it's actually
Great
fun to
to
play
meet you.
until
You're
it
a
starts
Gillian
to
Seed,
demand
Until
stuff
it
out of
stops
you, and
being fun to
Haven't we
play.
met somewhere before?
until it's at
No,
a point that
I
you have to actually
don't
like
believe
put
so.
Mario through the paces, and then the
Really?
controls and the camera
I
just get in
guess
your
I
way
must be
nonstop, and
imagining
like
things.
doing all this really tight platforming. And sometimes if you try to turn from left to right, you'll do a 180 without moving. Other times they'll run like a little circle to go from left to right, and then you fall off whatever the platform you're on is. Like, I can't count the number of times that I literally couldn't see where I was because the camera just is not nearly smart enough to like
Mhm.
follow you around, or it'll follow you around but you can't get into the angle you need, so you have to literally jump into the abyss and just hope that you're going the right way, which you usually aren't. So it's a weird game, but at the same time it has movement that's just super complex, like way more so I'd say than the Galaxy games. There's you've got so many different moves, and they do so many different things with your momentum as you combine them. I watched a couple of speedrunners playing some after I finished, and it's unbelievable the places that they can get with like 4 or 5 precise moves all chained together.
Well, they also like clip through the walls and shit, right? A lot of the times.
Well, yeah, I mean, it depends on the category actually. So
I know.
the shortest, no, the standard category that a lot of people do is 16 star, and so you have to clip through like 3 of the doors that block your progress towards the end. But you do have to get enough stars to unlock. I can't remember what it is.
Oh no, it's Metal Gear.
Maybe we just need enough stars to get the bunny to show up in the basement, because use the bunny to skip through one of the doors. Anyway, but then if you watch people do 120 stars, and they're going to all the levels, they're playing all the stages, they're just
yourself.
Yes, sir.
ping-ponging around the world like acrobats. But I'm really curious to see what they're going to do with that game, because they're talking
Metal
about,
Gear?
there've been
That's a
rumors that it's
pretty
going to get
weird
some
name.
kind of re-release on the Switch
Cute.
in the near
Yeah.
future, with the
Yeah.
kind of 3D Mario compilation.
I think I've heard every possible rumor of the configuration of what games are going to be in that. Also, Smoke Monster says, "Hey, what's up, Smoke? How you doing?"
Hey, Smoke. Great stream yesterday with the chiptunes and the pixel art.
Yes, yes, I checked out some of that after it was over, and
I put that on today again as I was working, so I could listen to it.
yeah.
But yeah, I don't know what you do with that game, because I think the best thing they can do with it would just be to basically bring it back as is and just let it be. Because if you try to polish it up, you're going to find pretty quickly that a lot of the worlds, the paintings, are just these kind of big empty boxes that don't have very much in them. And if you give it good controls and a good camera, it's going to get really easy. I don't know.
What do you think?
I don't think the controls are that bad. I think the camera is definitely the problem.
I've played a lot of Galaxy, so
unbelievably
maybe
light.
I'm really used to those controls. But
Well,
it's
Galaxy
really
does
twitchy,
that
you know,
thing
like-
where you just where you flop the remote and you attack in all directions at once, which I mean, I get it, I guess, but it's not precise. It's spinning in a circle to attack in every direction whenever you attack.
I'll take it.
The attacking is really not the stuff that I take issue with. It's more the precise movement. Like, Mario sticks to every wall because he wants to do like the little hugging the wall animation, so you're always getting stuck to walls. And it's really hard to make him turn around without doing a big arc. I don't know. There's a couple other things that bugged me a lot. Wall jumps are super picky in Mario 64.
I don't remember that being. I played it not that long. I have the Rumble Pack version, the Japanese re-release with Rumble Pack support, and I don't think they changed. Like, the original Japanese version had some glitches that were fixed in the American version, and then the Rumble Pack re-release in Japan has all the fixes of the American version. So I don't think it's any different from the American version except for the Rumble Pack stuff. And I didn't get to the end, so I didn't do the 70 star whatever, but I honestly found it, like, except for some parts where the camera just will not, it's like wrestling another enemy, dealing with the camera, but other than that, I honestly didn't find it that bad. But excuse me. But it was, yeah, I only got probably maybe 25 stars in, because it was just like I kind of feel like playing Mario 64. Okay, that was fun. Now I'm going to play something new that, or whatever, or something else, or I was working on a video. So I didn't make it as far as you did. So maybe some of the later levels would still, like, frustrate me.
The harder it gets, the worse it gets in general. It's kind of my experience with it. Also, a few of the challenges are just not very fun, and they kind of get by on it being a 3D game that when no one had ever played a proper 3D game before.
Right.
I don't know. It's really a time and place kind of. It's just weird because I go back every once in a while to the original Super Mario Brothers, which I don't think is nearly as good as 3 or World, but that game I think is a better, more cohesive game than Mario 64 is. Like it sets out and does something, and it does it well in a way that I don't think Mario 64 quite manages. It uses like a pretty limited set of moves and things, but the levels are well designed. The controls are good. It's not a weird mishmash hodgepodge of art styles. I don't know, man. Early 3D games.
Yeah.
It was a rough time.
I mean, the one that I still honestly don't get, that I've bounced off of continuously, is Mega Man Legends. Like, all kinds of people talk about how great they think it is. The first Mega Man Legends, every time I'm like, maybe people are right. Maybe I'm missing something. And I try to go back and play it again. I'm like, these controls are insufferable. I hate this. Like, and then the second one has dual analog support. So the second one is actually like quite a bit more playable in my estimation than the first one.
We must hurry. We'll use a turbo cycle to travel to the scene. Be careful, Gillian.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about Legends, but I've also heard that it's very clunky. So
it's really, you use L, so you walk forward and back and strafe with the D-pad, and then you use L1 and R1 to turn.
The vehicle is also VTOL capable, so takeoffs and landings in narrow areas present no difficulty.
Rough.
Flying tricycle, huh? I just came in.
As someone who played a lot of PC games in that era, that sounds like a PC control scheme.
Yeah, but not like executed. So, I mean, again, the second one has dual shock support, so it works a lot better, I think, from a control standpoint.
Anyway,
the fact that I had the option to go to Gillian's home instead of going to save or back up, Jean, like I could just go home instead.
Maybe that's why he doesn't come out of this in great shape.
My first day on the job, and now this.
But anyway, we finished that, and then today was Star Fox 64, and that game's pretty good.
This guy really is.
I like that game. That's the best Star Fox, I think, actually. Honestly,
absolutely the best Star Fox game.
I like that game.
Pretty fun.
And I think the multiplayer. Last time I played multiplayer, it was still fun. But it's at the most fun once you've unlocked all 3 of the vehicle option, or the 2 vehicle options and the on foot option. I feel like it's the most fun, once you have.
Say on foot, you can just be running around on foot.
Yeah, you never unlocked that in Star Fox 64.
I never had the game on the N64. I only played it on Virtual Console, and at that point, I didn't have anyone around who wanted to play Star Fox multiplayer.
Right. So if you get enough medals in the single player, you first unlock the Landmaster tank for multiplayer, and then you unlock being able to just run around with like a super scope, basically like mounted on your arm, and that seems like it wouldn't be the best thing in the world, but the thing that is nice is you can actually plant your feet and shoot, and also you're a very small target. So even though the R-Wing is a lot more durable than just like running around as like a bird man with a gun, you're way harder to hit, when you're on foot. And all 3 of the tank.
I can't believe they gave Tony Hawk a gun.
That's right.
You unlock Spider-Man.
Can only hope. So this is one thing that I will say about this game, as far as part of the effect it had on me at not quite 12 years old, or 12ish years old or whatever. This game is gorgeous in a way that a lot of the games that I had played to this point, action games and stuff, even on the Super Nintendo, they didn't do art in the same way, because it was all about like the background scrolling past you or whatever, you know what I mean? And like this game has each of these little sequences where you're in a spot and you're looking at stuff and you're doing these investigations, and it's like,
Like a cartridge game probably couldn't store this much art, did it?
Well, it definitely couldn't store this much, dialogue and stuff, but I don't know. Probably not, because remember the original versions of Snatcher that were on disc and such, on like floppy disk, didn't have the ending. It wasn't until I believe it was the PC Engine version, CD-ROM-mantic, as it's called. That is the actual title, Snatcher CD-ROM-mantic.
Wow.
That was the first one to have the third and final act of the game, so you actually find out what happens. Can't get any more data without going into the building. Okay, so then let's go. This is one of the things that's frustrating. You have to look at things and investigate things until you hear Jean
was that?
scream. Then you can enter the building.
Perhaps something has happened to Jean-Jacques.
That's what friends are for, right?
Right.
Gillian, please use extreme caution. I read multiple moving objects within the factory. This could indicate the presence of Snatchers or Insectors.
Well, I can't find that
Insectors?
CPS
What in the
one
world's that?
core, but maybe
A
I'll just
spider-like
run the
robot used
updater
by
script and I'll
Snatchers
probably
as
pull it
security
down.
devices.
I was gonna say, run the
Though
Jotego
compact in
updater
size,
script.
They are armed with needle guns.
I just updated all the MRA files in the latest version, so hopefully that'll help.
Push the gun start button to draw. Ooh, you might want to save just in case disaster strikes. Well, thanks, Metal Gear. I guess I will. Metal Gear. So I played through Metal Slug last night on my Neo Geo. Metal Slug is still pretty good, you guys. I don't know if you knew that. I don't know if you were aware.
Certainly looks very good.
Definitely looks very good. Speaking of, games of this era that look... I mean, Metal Slug was 2 years after this, I guess, but... And on more powerful hardware, but looks real good.
I don't know that I could name a sprite art game that looks better than Metal Slug games do.
In the Hunt. Other games from Nazca.
I don't think I know that one.
Oops. Oh, no. Oh, damn it.
Or, you know, like, okay, Street Fighter 3, let's say, is...
Yeah, Street Fighter 3. I think there's a few Neo Geo games. I think Real Bout Fatal Fury Special looks amazing. Garo, or Garu, whatever. Mark of the
Garu.
Wolves. Right, it's a Japanese appropriation of a French word, so
I mean, it's just
the
Garu.
Japanese would say Garo, but Garu is the correct French pronunciation. I
You don't
think.
have U? Garu?
They have oo, but when you spell something Garou, the U is an extension of the O sound in Japanese, so they would say Garo. Garo Densetsu, which is Legend of the Hungry Wolf, is how they translate it. Oh no, it's Little John. He's been exploded.
What the?
It's Little John.
Little
But yeah,
John?
Metal Slug, I mean,
Yes, Jean-Jacques
Metal
Nixon's
Slug 1
personal
is not the
navigator.
best looking of the Metal Slug games, but it's still really good looking.
Yeah. No, obviously, like, as they go on, it gets to be pretty lush.
Yeah.
All those bosses, man.
Mm-hmm. And the bosses in the first one, again, are not even that, comparatively. They're not, as what you'd see in X and 3. Like 2, 3X is, I think, where the series kind of peaks, and then it's a little bit downhill with 4, 5, 6. 6 was not a Neo Geo game, though. 6 was a Thomas Wave, I want to say. Probably Smoke Monster knows.
Did you find the dead body? Because I still haven't seen that. How much of a delay is there on the stream?
There's a little bit. Give me a second here. Sorry, I had to moderate the chat a little bit. Sorry, what were you saying, Mike? What was your question?
I was just saying, have you actually found the dead body? Because I feel
Not
like I
yet.
still haven't.
No, not yet.
Okay. I was wondering how far behind we were.
I found Little John, but not John. memory may be intact. We have to hurry. Gibson's in trouble.
Yeah, dude, like, get the freaking SD card out of the robot later, maybe?
What do you think? Can you get this memory
I
chip?
don't know if
out of
it'll
there
let me
in one
advance
piece?
until I get the SD chip out of the
Now
robot.
retrieving memory chip. Memory chip retrieved.
Alright, now we can move. Oh, there he is. You're about to get it, Mike. You're probably about 30 seconds behind because I'm on normal latency because I'm streaming in 1080. So. Look, body. Holy shit. Yeah, that picture was in a million magazines in 1994. Even if you didn't play this game, I think you saw that image because every game magazine in the world was like, look at this shit. His head's been twisted completely off.
Oh my goodness, Joe, I was unprepared for this.
Ah, I know, right? He's still warm. What killed him? I wonder. I don't know if any more old keys like this are still used. Yeah, see, here we go again. So I have to investigate his clothing multiple times to find all this stuff in his pocket. He's got a key, he's got a piece of paper, and I think I have to investigate his body again to find out... no, nothing more in his belongings. Now I think I have to investigate the corpse more. Yeah, he's got something in his hand.
Search the house! Exclamation mark.
Oh, but it's not an exclamation mark, Mike. It's something else.
Oh.
It's a floppy disk.
It's my favorite Mac game, Search the House.
An analysis of Jean's stomach reveals a major
Yeah, so I have to search his body like 5 times to find all of the stuff, including cutting his stomach open to analyze the contents of his stomach, so we can get a lead on where we need to go next.
Organic compounds.
What's in there? Anything good?
If you can determine
Buffalo
the
meat.
composition and a degree to which the food's been digested, we may be able to figure out
Does that mean you're going to Buffalo?
That means we're coming to Buffalo, that's right.
Now analyzing recovered hair sample.
I mean, honestly, for a video game of this vintage, it presents at the time, it presented a pretty compelling mystery. There's a lot of,
Chromosomal analysis of cells from
you know, it's
patella,
fairly on
radio,
rails. Like, there's not a
line.
lot of,
Subject is
you don't have a
male.
lot of freedom to go to different
Hair
places
color,
and
brown.
investigate
Hair
different
structure
stuff. You're
reading
kind of put on the
65
track of, like,
indicates
this is where the
European subject with
investigation
wavy
goes.
hair.
But certainly as a 12-year-old,
Attachment of
I
root
was
structure
like,
and thickness of the base
this
of
is
the strands
amazing. The
suggest
depth
hair
of this
exposed
mystery
to
is, you know. And now it's hard to judge because I already know all the twists and turns, so I'm like,
RH factor negative.
would I still think that twist was good if I didn't see it coming? Or, like, would I see it coming in my 30s with a familiarity with this kind of science fiction and detective fiction and pulp noir? And, or would some of this stuff still be, like, kind of interesting twists of, like, you know, I don't know. I don't want to get too into the spoilery bits, but, you know.
I only played it a few years ago, and I think I've already forgotten most of the story. So.
Did you play through the whole thing, Mike?
Yeah, I finished it. Everything. Like I said, the worst part of the game for me was like the gunfights at the end of the game using the controller.
Well, there's one where you can accidentally
Really?
kill an important character that gives you an instant game
Analysis
over.
complete.
Well, and also just getting killed by the robots because there's like 1,000 of them you gotta shoot.
Yeah, the last action sequence right before the half-hour-long ending cutscene is pretty intense.
Yeah, that was rough. And I didn't love the half-an-hour ending cutscene, but I liked basically everything up until that 1-2 punch of the finale.
Yeah, I don't know. I think, again, as a 12-year-old, it was so different from, I wasn't tired of that from Kojima yet. Like, I hadn't played Metal Gear Solid, and Metal Gear Solid 2, and Metal Gear Solid 3, and dear God, Metal Gear Solid 4, which is the one that really broke me in terms of, like, I don't need to reach the end and sit through 45 minutes of talking. Like, that is not a thing.
45 minutes, dude. It was way longer than that. I think it was like an hour and a half at the end of Metal Gear Solid 4.
Are you including, like, the half-ass final boss fight? Because
I don't even remember.
I think the actual ending itself was about 45 minutes to an hour, but I could be wrong.
I mean, you might have clicked a couple buttons in there at some point, but I'm pretty sure that they, yeah. Because even Metal Gear Solid 2 was already well over half an hour.
Really long, yeah.
Buffalo meat?
Yeah, but I got this game. I liked this game so much as a kid that I got to the point where I could play through it in less than an hour, and then just watch that. You know, skipping all the cutscenes and everything, which seems like it wouldn't be that fun, but I played this game a lot as a kid. I used to have all the what you had to do and what you could look at and what you could skip looking at or analyzing to, like, you know, move to the next. Next section. It's blocked by a cave-in. Also, the music's real good in this. I mean, the Konami Kukeha Club was, like, always real good, so... Must be several tons of earth here. It appears to have been like this for some time. Okay, I think I've extended my...
So I'm a little sad to say this, but I've completely fallen off of that new XCOM game.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I don't think I picked it up in 2 weeks, maybe 3, and right now I'm very unenthused about the idea of going back to it.
That's a bummer.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't quite pinpoint why it is. I will say that I really like when the games have, you know, more of a base building element and, you know, getting equipped and things like that. And it has a little bit of that, but it's very.
It didn't seem like you were super enthusiastic about the writing and stuff in there either.
Yeah, well, the writing has never really been good, but yeah, putting more of a focus on the writing is not really doing the game any favors. But I get, even as someone who loves those games, I get ground down when it's just nothing but missions, one after the other, and this game seems to be almost exclusively that. Like, there's, you know, a minute of busy work in between the missions at your base, but yeah. I don't know. I'll probably try it again at some point. Just pick up where I left off, but yeah, not really hitting for me.
Yeah, I kind of felt the same way about that Gears Tactics thing too.
Yeah, everyone that I heard who played that thought that it started out really strong, but that after a while it just kind of wore through its welcome.
Yeah, there's just not enough variety in enemy types and stuff. I think that it's a really fantastic core, but also something about that, like the dreariness of that world is a lot less interesting when you're zoomed way out. Like
yeah,
the architecture is really cool. Sorry, go ahead, Mike.
It's a lot of beige brown kind of buildings, I guess, you know, the triple B.
And you just can't really, like, the scale of that stuff doesn't have the same impact when you're zoomed way out from it as it does when you're inhabiting those characters, so.
It all looks like cool, graceful arches and things like that.
Right, but it's also like, yeah, but it's also like outsized and huge in the way that the characters are too, so it's just like, I don't know. Like I said, there's like things about the art, specifically like the latter, like 3 and 4, the latter Gears of War games that have really cool architecture and stuff in them, but just doesn't. When you're playing it that far zoomed out, it's just like a gray and brown mess. It feels a lot more like playing like the first Gears.
Right.
But I also didn't play that much of it, so maybe you do get to go to some of the more interesting places and aren't just in the bombed out city the whole time. I don't know.
And that's another game that doesn't really do much between the levels, right?
No, I mean, it has a super complicated. I don't know if it's complicated or complex, maybe both. But like the skill tree and the way that it's got like 4 different quadrants and a bunch of different skills that all like play off each other, I think is really interesting. And there's just a shitload of equipment, attachments and things that let you really like customize on a really deep level the way that those characters play. But I don't know how much that I actually want to do.
I hear ya.
See, this is where this game, like, I used to have all this memorized, but like I don't know what I'm supposed to do to move the narrative forward at this point. Like, I've looked at and investigated everything. Even that's hard once you've been doing stuff, because you would look it up and it would say like, you have to do this and you have to do this and you have to do this, and then I'd be like, well, I did that, I did that, I did that, I did that, I did that. Oh, I had to look at the paper one more time for Metal Gear to take it as evidence.
I'm reading movement.
Because I didn't look at the paper or the key enough times for him to be like, oh, I'll take that.
Snatchers?
Unable to confirm. I suggest we investigate.
I think you're almost to where I got when I was playing it when we did the extra live stream.
Yeah, that
Still
save
a lot
file
farther
is
than
still
this.
on here. I think you did get a little
We definitely
further
got to
than
the
this.
pervy teenage girl bit.
Did we get
Did
that
we?
far? Okay.
Yeah. We met what's the guy, the informant guy?
Yeah, Napoleon.
There you go.
I mean, it took me a lot longer to get this far because I had not played it, so I was like really digging in and checking everything out.
Yeah, right. That's also...
Must be a bomb.
They must have liquefied themselves.
Now that you've sneezed, apparently you can start retreating and moving and retreating.
Oh, that's right. This is one of the old school Kojima meta jokes. Turn up the volume on your TV to hear the sound of the thing, and then there's going to be an explosion in a minute, and Metal Gear tells you it's because you didn't turn the volume back down on your TV. That's why it was so loud.
You need to adjust the Hideo signal on your TV.
That's right.
Whoa!
Whoa.
Time bomb?
It's a time bomb.
Evacuate immediately. There is little time.
It's inside the poor little Metal Gear. That's very sad.
That's Little John. Metal Gear is my navigator.
Wow, okay. I thought that they were a class of robot.
Oh, here we go.
All right. Time to justify that PVM purchase.
So these are obviously, I feel like, inspired by that. What's that movie with Tom Selleck? Runaway?
Okay.
The robot
What are you
spiders.
talking about?
I know what you're talking about. I've seen that movie.
I was say, Eric.
Look out, we got a floater. Which was like a drone from the 1980s.
Oh, I see. That's a bad choice of nickname. Having a little trouble hitting that top spot, Joe?
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit. That was weird. When I was on the shooting range earlier, it wasn't having a problem. Maybe I'm having similar problems to what Dark Savior Madera was saying earlier with drift on his Justifier. I have a gun con coming on the way to me right now. Nanomachines, huh?
Isn't that? I think that movie's based on a Michael Crichton book, isn't it?
Is it? Maybe.
I think so.
But it had those weird robot spiders that inject,
Did,
whatever
yeah.
poison into him. I feel like
I mean, this game is basically that movie, right?
yeah, that movie. Well, Mike and I were talking about this before you got here. That
Gene
movie
Simmons
and
the game, or?
Blade Runner and Terminator and Invasion of the Body Snatchers and Bubblegum Crisis.
Yeah.
Please save yourself. I am paralyzed with fear.
Oh, I can't believe this stupid robot. Come
I think wasn't Gene Simmons the bad guy in that
Gene
movie?
Simmons is the bad guy. Yes. Absolutely.
Did we ever action cast that, or?
We did not. We should.
I don't know,
though.
that might. There's fun things about that movie, but it's a little.
My ears are really ringing.
That's because you
I don't know
left
if it's
the
really
volume turned
worth.
up.
It's because you left the volume turned up. There's that
There is
Kojima
no need for
meta humor.
concern. I have stored all
I
the
don't get it.
information about the evidence and the area in my memory. We should return.
Too smart for me.
We've returned to Junker headquarters.
We've returned to
That
Junker
was some
headquarters.
first day.
Now entering the building. We've entered the lobby.
All right. Well, that's been about an hour,
I
and
heard about Jean.
we did some
I'm sorry.
shooting.
I wish
We
I
did
could
some
have
investigating.
now.
We saw the guy's
Yeah,
head
I'll
get
do
twisted
quite
off, so
satisfactorily.
I think we hit all the high notes
It's
in the
not
first
your
hour
fault,
of
Gillian.
Snatcher.
Don't worry
Yeah,
about
I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to continue that. I might continue
By
this
the way,
playthrough just
the
because,
chief is
like I
waiting
said, I've
for
never
you.
played it with the gun before, so I might keep streaming this. We'll
This is the
see.
chief's office.
How's it make you feel? Does it feel a lot better playing it with a gun, or does it not really?
You know, honestly, the way they handled it with the way that it works when you play with the controller is, you saw when I drew my gun, it has the grid of 9 squares. And basically, well, you've played it, so you remember this probably. But you just hit the direction. You just hit each, center is neutral.
Yeah.
And you hit the shoot button, or you hit, any one of the 8 directions on the D-pad to shoot. And I think that actually works great. So I mean, it's a novelty for me. Purely, it's the novelty. I think shooting with the D-pad is totally fine. And probably more. I wouldn't have gotten shot by that top spider 4 or 5 times if I'd been using the controller. But so I mean, it's the novelty. I don't think this game does not need the gun to be good or fun. It's not like Time Crisis, which I'm really looking. I got Time Crisis for like $5 at a Goodwill like 7 years ago because I had already been on this idea of wanting to get a CRT again. So I will be very excited when my gun con shows up, because that is a game that is absolutely not enjoyable with a controller at all. So this one, yeah, you can kind of go either way. So, but yeah, I don't know. I might continue this playthrough. I don't know what we're doing on Wednesday yet. Maybe I'll play some more of this on Wednesday, but we'll probably do something else. Maybe I'll just do this on off days whenever I kind of feel like it or have time. So watch the skies. And that's it for tonight. I'm gonna end the stream. Have a good night, everybody. Thanks for hanging out.
Bye. Yep.